Greetings. Today's video, a follow-up of the French cleat style geek wall system. I needed some hangers for the Viking shields and some way to display these really cool aluminum bucket stands that some friends of ours made us for our buckets, for our Mandolorian buckets. And my wife's Harry Potter wand has been hidden on a shelf for many years, so we thought we'd add that to the geek wall. Right now all this stuff's just sort of thrown up there to get it out of wherever it was before and consolidate it. Hopefully eventually, once we get everything made and all the brackets that we're looking for, we'll have it nicely and neatly organized. But in the meantime, here it is. So enjoy the video and have a great day. The box that the wand originally came in is actually fairly sturdy and fairly kitten-proof, so we chose to display the wand in the box. Took a couple pieces of half-inch flat stock, bent it around a piece of square tubing that was approximately the right size, and then cut it to length, and then beat the ends over, and they just basically come over just enough that you can see the wand, but they hold the box in to keep it from tipping forward. Measured the length of the wand, cut a piece of the same half-inch flat stock to approximately the right thing, and welded the two bent over square ends to the center section. I found and marked the halfway point, guesstimated where I wanted a couple other holes, and then drilled the place where the screws will go. Gave it a couple of coats of rattle can paint, and then using drywall screws, I fastened that bracket to the wooden cleat part that goes on the wall, slid the wand in place, and there we have it. Some friends of ours made us these bucket stands, and we wanted to be able to display them in all of their glory, which pretty much meant that they needed to be able to sit on a metal or on a flat surface. But we didn't really have one, so I fabricated a bracket of sorts to go on the geek wall that would hold these things up. They're fairly heavy, particularly with my bucket. My bucket weighs about 6 pounds, so I chose to use 1/4-inch aluminum plate for the backer. So I knew that it would be plenty sturdy and durable. I started cutting the aluminum square stock that is going to make up the center pieces that the bucket stands will slide over top of. I just essentially created an H-frame, welded these things together in an H-type pattern, and then along the center section I drilled a hole to put a nutsert in. Beveled all the edges, any place that the plate or the square stock was going to touch and get welded. I beveled the edges, cleaned them up a little bit to make a little bit stronger, more secure welds. I laid everything out, made sure it was nice and square, then tack welded everything, test fitted it to make sure it still functioned the way it was supposed to, and when I was sure that everything was where it was supposed to be, I went through and welded everything together. I tack welded, then test fitted, then fully welded the 1/4-inch plate onto the square tubing assembly. Drilled a couple of holes that will attach this to the wooden bracket that goes on the wall. Then drilled the centerpiece out for the nutsert so that I could screw it all together with a 1/4-20 piece of hardware. The glory of the French cleat style system is all of the weight is transferred to the bracket on the wall below this, so there's really very little stress on this other than a little bit of downward force, and the bolts are plenty capable of holding that. Hanging my wife's shield would have been no problem. Hanging my shield a little more so, but anyways, more of that half-inch flat stock. Just bent it around into a curly Q a couple of times, hammered it somewhat flat so that it didn't stick out very far. Hammered the ends around. Don't show it here, but I filed them. Measured down a couple inches, cut them off, drilled 2 holes, one above the other. Cut the pieces to length and then screwed them to a shorter section of bracket for the cleats. Fairly simple, fairly easy, elegant, works well. I like it. The more and more stuff I put on this wall, the more and more impressed I am with the flexibility of this system. I mentioned it in the original video. It's absolutely amazing system. My dad uses this shelving in his workshop, and it was an absolutely great idea. I'm very happy with it so far.